Welcome back to Canadian Justice, where we're discussing a legal challenge to a government agency that's been denying journalist Dan Otis access to documents related to UFOs, which is the story that he covers as a journalist. Now, Dan, part of the way you conduct your investigations as an investigative journalist is through filing freedom of information requests. And we have legislation in Canada that governs what type of public documents public can get access to and how. Now, how many freedom of information requests have you been filing? Where exactly are you submitting them? And what kinds of things have you learned as a result of these FOIs? Now, I know you said that we got a PowerPoint presentation to from I think you said in the military, but what else? How many are you submitting? Where are you submitting them? And what kind of stuff are you finding?
Yeah, well, I submit freedom of information requests on various subjects in my work, but in terms of UFO stuff, we're at over 200 now over the past 3 years. Predominantly federal requests to the Departments of National Defense, and as particularly the Air Force and Canadian NORAD operations. I have requests filed with the RCMP, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, the PCO, the Privy Council Office, the Canadian Space Agency. The list goes on. So far, I've received thousands of pages of material that show, UFO-related briefings, cases, case files, and procedural documents, particularly from Transport Canada and the Air Force and NORAD. And those, for example, I've obtained Air Force logbooks that show in real time how air traffic controllers are radioing NORAD officials to help, identify things that pilots are seeing. And there are procedures on the books. If you get a UFO call, do X, Y, Z. My reporting is we've published all that procedural material.
Now, you filed FOIs related to nuclear facilities. What piqued your interest in nuclear facilities in particular? I know that you filed FOIs in New Brunswick related to their nuclear facilities and in Ontario, and you got very different responses. So first, why the interest in nuclear? And then what has the response to those FOIs been?
Yeah, I mentioned that a lot of the news has been driven by the US, and there some journalists have made an anecdotal connection between nuclear facilities and UFO sightings, particularly power plants, as well as, nuclear missile silos and things like that. In addition to that, I received a tip from someone, one of my readers, who said that they had a relative that works at the Pickering nuclear plant near Toronto, and that they were regularly seeing things that they couldn't easily identify. So there are four active nuclear power plants in Canada. Two are operated by OPG, Ontario Power Generation. They're near Toronto. There's another one up close to the Bruce Peninsula, which is privately operated, which means we can access it through freedom of information. And then there's another one in New Brunswick. So I filed almost identical reports to both Ontario Power Generation, OPG, and New Brunswick Power. Both requests were initially denied on security grounds. I appealed both, and New Brunswick Power eventually, did what they are supposed to do, and they released records that were redacted, to protect relevant safety and security information. OPG, on the other hand, denied records, and as you said, they've kind of gone nuclear in this fight to withhold this material.
Look, I assume as an investigative reporter, for someone like you, a flat out refusal of no, we won't give you anything. It's sort of like catnip. I mean, it's just so irresistible to know why they are refusing. So, what's your reaction been like to that refusal?
Well, I got the refusal, and my first question right back was, "Well, were records identified?" And as soon as they said yes, I filed my complaint right away. I mean, to be told that records exist and no, you can't have them seemed ridiculous to me. I mean, NORAD and our Air Force are releasing redacted
Mhm.
records, and they have a very clear safety and security
Yeah. So,
nexus.
so
Uh,
what did they give you a reason? Did they say it was safety and security? And why would they have that issue, but NORAD and the military wouldn't?
E- Exactly. They said that they had the power to withhold all of this material for safety and security reasons. That was their initial justification. And after I filed the complaints, they came up with 11 more reasons
Mm,
why they wanted to withhold the material. And then they also filed a constitutional question
wow.
essentially saying that their obligations under federal
Right.
nuclear security laws
w-
would
Right.
make them unable
We,
to fulfill
we
the provincial freedom of information laws.